I'm Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about true crime and psychology. Thank you so much for joining. Let's hop right into today's topic. Let's go.
Thank you all so much for being here. Today, we are going to talk about two different cases. If you're watching on replay, it's my goal in the next few hours to put some timestamps. So if you would just like to skip ahead to one particular case, you're able to do so. All right, let's start with the Brian Walshe change in plea. So Brian Walshe, he was charged with the 2023 capital M of his wife, Anna Walshe, and was also accused of discarding her body. But so I can't say certain words on the tube. So we'll say her body was in pieces. He also was stabbed in jail in September, and at that point, his attorney said that had impacted his mental health, and he went to a state hospital to be evaluated. Based on that evaluation, he was found competent to stand trial, and they were going in for jury selection, and I guess the judge was notified that he wanted to change his plea. Okay. And so we are going to take a look because the judge asks some very specific questions because there are issues that can come up on appeal. Y'all know I'm not a lawyer, but I like following like the legal aspects of these things. And so I think the judge wanted to get some very specific questions out of the way. So let's take a look at this. He has just pled guilty to tampering with a witness. There's something about like a witness, and then another charge of doing what he did to the body. But he's still pleading not guilty to causing her death. That's what he's fighting.
Mr. Walshe, as you know, my name is Diane Frenier. I'm the judge that's presiding over this trial, and I'm an associate justice of the Superior Court in Massachusetts. I understand from your lawyers that you wish to change your plea to guilty to counts indictment 002 and in 003. And before I can accept that change of plea to guilty to those two indictments, I need to ask you some questions to make sure that your decision to plead guilty is made voluntarily and that you understand the consequences of pleading guilty to those two offenses. If at any time during the course of this colloquy you don't understand something that I am saying to you, just let me know by letting your attorneys know. Let them consult with you. And equally, if I don't understand something that you're saying to me, I'll ask for that further clarification. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Can you please state your full name, sir?
Brian Walshe.
All right. And Mr. Walshe, do you have any difficulty speaking or understanding English?
I do not, Your Honor.
How old are you, sir?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Sure, I'll try to get into this microphone. How old are you?
50.
And what's your exact date of birth?
January 31st, 1975.
Where were you born, sir?
Boston.
Are you married?
Yes.
Do you have any children?
Yes.
And what are their ages?
9, 6, and next month, Brian will be 5.
How far did you go in school?
College, some college.
And that was like a year and a half or 2 years?
Oh, yes.
And where did you go to school?
Carnegie Mellon.
What did you study?
Business and computer science.
As an adult, have you had full-time employment?
I've had my own businesses.
And in what kind of businesses?
Mostly consulting.
Okay. I need to ask you some personal questions. I'm going to ask you those questions now. Have you ever in the past been treated for any mental illnesses or conditions?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Depression.
And are you aware of anything else other than depression?
That was the main thing.
All right. And are you presently aware of whether you have any mental illnesses or conditions, to include depression?
No.
Are you taking any medications?
No.
In the last 24 hours, have you taken any drugs?
All right. So I thought it was interesting that the judge asked about his mental health because he was just recently found competent to stand trial. And now, once coming back from that, he's completely changing his strategy going into this trial. Somebody asked what the potential sentence he might be facing. And I do just want to share, I'm not going to play the video. I'm going to try to get her at a good pause. Okay, there we go. Is that's as okay. I'm going to try to get her at a good pause. Lawyer Lee, and I'm sure there are other lawyers that are going to be covering this as well, but I know that she has a video up right now. And let me share this tab. There we go. So she has a video, and I'll make sure to put it in the description of the video as well, talking about why he pled guilty from a lawyer's perspective. I was wondering if the psychological thing that they might be going for is he's admitting that he did these two things, but he's adamant that he didn't do this other thing. And I think with the two lesser, it's my understanding he's facing between maybe 10 to 20 years. That's my understanding. I'm not a lawyer. Okay. Not a lawyer. Yes. I like Lawyer Lee. I'm sure Peter from Lawyer will be covering it as well. And I keep my little emotion dolls and Stitch, and so y'all can tell some of the things I like based on what's behind me. uh, uh, so Denny Dawn. So this is where I'm wondering if he's trying to say that she died of natural causes or that he found her deceased. Like, I wonder or is he saying it was an accident? Like, he flipped, like, because he's pleading not guilty to capital M. He's charged with first degree capital M. And so that's where I'm wondering what the strategy is going to be going into opening statements. It's my understanding that should start around December 1st. We will see. They're currently doing jury selection. And the question asks, how can he say he's guilty of those lessers but not guilty to the main thing? I like how you'll call it redrum. I'm gonna have to do it backwards. It's the word backwards. I'm gonna have to start, instead of capital M, I'll start saying redrum. And yes. All right. So that is that part. I'm just making sure that I'm getting y'all's questions. So we will see what the jury decides. I think the state is still probably confident in their case. I think there was a lot of evidence proving that he did the things he pled guilty to. I think there was a lot of evidence proving that part. They still have not recovered her body. And so that's where I wasn't sure if the state would do some type of plea deal, but he probably doesn't want to spend the rest of his life in jail. And so I don't know if he would plead guilty to anything else just to tell them where she is, because they have not. It's my understanding they don't have her body, which could make proving the capital M harder, because you don't have an expert saying like this is what happened. Y'all correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, because it's my understanding for this case that they don't have a body. All right. Welcome, Lynn in South Carolina. Welcome, Peg. Hey, Marissa. Hello, Lisa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me know if y'all have any other general questions about this case. He was initially, his competency was raised, and there was enough of a concern where the judge sent him for an evaluation. I know Paul from reporting live from my sofa, he streamed that entire hearing. I couldn't watch it. So I knew that he was found competent. So I didn't watch that entire hearing. Um uh oh, it's rumored that her remains were incinerated. That is super sad. Super sad for the family. Okay, they recovered small bone fragments. That was all. So sad. Um I thought he said he was 50. He said 1975. He said he was born in 1975. And that would be why the judge would ask him all of those questions. 19. I'm not good at math in my head. Yeah, he is 50 years old if he was born in 1975. So, oh, y'all say red rum. I see it as redrum. Y'all know I have a reading red rum. I like redrum better. All right. We laugh here just so we're gonna learn, laugh, and grow. That is what we try to do here. And Donna, I get things wrong all the time. I get things wrong regularly. So it is absolutely fine. All right. Now let's move over to a very difficult case. Okay. This is the case of Matthew Lance. I'm not exactly sure on the pronunciation of his last name. I saw Kathy. So Kathy from Gossip Rumor and Innuendo, she gives short breakdowns, and I watched her video. I have not taken a look at all of the opening statement, but oh, okay. Let's give a little bit of a backstory to this case. Okay. So Matthew Lance is charged. He's currently, I think he's in his mid 20s. I think he's currently around 26 years old. He's charged with the 2021 so not laughing because it's funny, but I'm trying to say redrum or yes. So the 2021 redrum of Justin Hicks. Um and he was a firefighter and his wife Amber in their home. His trial was delayed due to a competency evaluation during the competency hearing. So the competency hearing was a few weeks ago. So this news article that I'm taking a look at is from October 17th of 2025. This is out of Georgia. This case, if people are wondering what state is this in, it is out of Georgia. A forensic psychologist testified that he suffers from untreated schizophrenia, and initially, he was found to be not competent to stand trial. Prosecutors, however, argue that he is competent, citing evaluations from 3 other doctors. So I guess there was one doctor that said he wasn't competent, and then there were 3 other doctors that said that he was. 2 psychiatrists from the Georgia Regional Hospital previously testified that they believe he is fit for trial after a 10-month evaluation. 10 months is a long time. They testified that he had narcissistic traits, which make him difficult to work with, but not incompetent. One psychiatrist noted that nurses became concerned when he began mimicking behaviors of other patients who were truly psychotic, shortly after being informed of his competency status. The judge's decision on his competency will determine whether the case can proceed, and he was found competent. So once again, I said that was an article from October 17th of this year. He's having a bench trial. So instead of his trial going before a jury, it's just in front of the judge. So he does not have a jury, and he just has the judge. Whoa, I did not see an interview with his parents. Okay, I might have to just get, if I can find that, we are going to take a look at that. Matthew Lance parents. Let me see. Was there an interview? Why? I'm not seeing it on YouTube. I don't. So I might have to, because I'm sure I'm going to do more than one video on this case. There was very powerful testimony about the impact of this. So the parent, so there were, and so he lived next door to people who had just moved into the house. This lovely couple and their 2-year-old child. The 2-year-old witnessed this incident and is currently 6 years old and was left for hours. So when the police arrived, all the trigger warnings for this case, when the police arrived, the child was covered in his parents' blood. Okay. And that is just because Matthew is also charged with child endangerment because I don't think he fed the child. I don't think he now the child survived. So he did not unalive the child, but he did do that to the parents. And like, now this case gets a little complicated because Matthew had an older brother. And according to Kathy's video, the brother was briefly in the military, but like maybe like that did not last long. And y'all know I am in the like Northern Virginia area, and Matthew Lance brother. Let me get that information because the brother is deceased because he went on a rampage. I thought it was like in the Pentagon area of DC. Yes. So months before this incident, Lance's brother, Austin Lance, fatally stabbed a Pentagon police officer and then pew-pewed himself with the officer's gun. And the brother Austin had been arrested in April of 2021 in connection with a break-in at a home that shares a fence with his. And that, I believe that's the same home that Matthew went to and did this thing. And so I get why people are thinking, was Matthew trying to finish like what his brother because it seemed like the brother might have harmed the family that was living there before. It seemed like he had this weird obsession because it's my understanding that he would send odd things to the house regularly, and it just sounds very, very odd. Yes, the brother was doing so. If you can see the screen, the brother was doing those things prior to that couple moving. That couple just moved, and my heart breaks for them. Well, not break, but I'm sure they're thinking that could have been us if they hadn't moved. That really could have been them, and it's just super, 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 super. Denny Don. I didn't watch all of the testimony. He was playing with toys on his daddy. Oh wow. Wow. That's super, super sad. Sad to hear. Wow. The toy was on the dad's leg. Yes, the older brother was obsessed with the former owners and had harassed them. Yes. And so y'all know a lot about this case. Let me know if y'all have any general questions. The defense is saying that it was the FBI or the CIA, and that's probably why initially the defense wanted a not guilty by reason or not NGRI. They wanted him to not be found competent to stand trial. because he's saying that his strategy is that he's been set up, but so the police arrive at the home and Matthew is upstairs in the home and like all these things have happened. It's my understanding he he gets upset with the officers. All these things happen. I'm going to share my screen. I'm not going to play all of the opening statement, but there were I love a good PowerPoint. And so the state used a PowerPoint, and they talked a lot about the victims in this case. They moved there on September 5th, 2021, and they show exactly where the house was. Okay, and where his house was. Matthew was 22 at the time. They talk about, so they have his father, mother, older brother who's deceased, and he has 2 sisters. All right. The family home. They have all of that. All right. But the state is going to show like the evidence that they have, and like this overwhelming evidence that they want. They looked at DNA. They examined a firearm. Yeah. So November 19th, call of a burglary in progress. So they moved in September, and this happened in November. I have a link to I believe I have a link to the full video. The defendant was arrested right there and taken to the hospital and placed in custody. 3 main pieces of evidence. Okay, so let's play it from this part.
Really, they're just categories of evidence. Those 3 pieces of evidence are digital evidence, statements, and forensic evidence. What I mean by digital evidence, it's really the evidence that puts the timeline together. The surrounding surveillance videos of homes surrounding the Hicks and the Lanz residence that show the defendant's arrival, the departure, and then in addition to the defendant's phone extraction being placed in the airplane mode. You're also going to hear about Justin and Amber's phone extraction, which show their last known activities. Now, statements. The defendant's statements to law enforcement, Scott Lanz's statements to law enforcement, and Teresa Lanz's statements to law enforcement. And last, the forensic evidence. This is the defendant's gun. You're going to hear that he is the rightful owner of that gun. He had bought that gun. You're going to hear that the defendant's DNA is on that gun. And the casings that are recovered on scene were fired from that gun. Now, some expectations as we move through this week. There's no video of the murder itself. There was no video on the living room of where this murder occurred. But with the surveillance videos and the circumstantial evidence, we were able to provide that timeline.
And I think, so I will speed him up. So he's doing a great job. He's talking directly to the judge. Let's see at 1.5 speed how this sounds. I will slow it down if this is too fast.
There are 2 missing cases.
A little fast. I'll do 1.25. Let's see how this is.
From the crime scene, because you will hear from Dr. Ashraff that they were shot. There were 5 shots, but there are 2 missing cases. As I previously stated, the surveillance video in the front of the Hicks household is incredibly difficult to see because of the dark nature. However, Detective Smith will show and point where to look at the appropriate time. There is no perfect timeline. There never is. But we will present a timeline for the court to make the findings that we need to make. The defendant's statements during these interviews are odd at times, and you will not hear a specific motive in this case. Now, as the court knows, my duty is that the burden is on us. It's always on us. The burden of proof is always on the state to prove every criminal case as to each essential element of the crime charge beyond reasonable doubt, and that never shifts. Now, your duty this week is to listen to the evidence and ascertain the truth. What I mean by that is that I ask the court to look at the 5 C's. That's the corroboration of the evidence, consistencies and inconsistencies in the evidence, the credibility of the witnesses as they take the witness stand, and the conduct of the parties. And last, just common sense. At the end of the evidence, we will ask that you return a verdict that speaks the truth. There is only one truth in this case, and that truth is that the defendant is guilty to all counts of this indictment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, A.A. Horowitz. Attorney Barrett, would you like to make your opening statement at this point?
It's very short.
Okay, you may proceed.
It's going to be very short.
The object of all legal investigation, obviously, is to seek the truth. This is a very emotional case, very difficult case, as the court pointed out earlier. As the court already knows from your experience, the state has the duty and responsibility of proving the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And of course, what they say in opening is just what they allege the evidence to be. We'll have an opportunity to test that evidence and talk about it. Matthew believes that he has been set up by either FBI, CIA, or some.
I'm gonna rewind that because the attorney says Matthew believes that he was set up. And so that's where I think this is the defense that the defendant wants. I think the defendant wants to blame the CIA, the FBI, that he was set up. Donna, yes, I do believe in evil. This definitely was an evil act. I'm careful about who was it? I recently did that one. The judge called him an evil spirit. Who was that? Y'all know who it was. I just did it. It was just on Saturday. The judge called him an evil spirit. It was the DEMA, the DEMA Towers. The judge was just called him an evil spirit. And so, and with the law, so I like looking at mental health, and this just, it seems odd. It seems odd. Let me plug in my computer real quick, or else y'all aren't going to see me because my battery is gone. Gotta love technology. And I tried to make the camera stop. I apologize if this made you took you a little back and forth. And grief is real, and also, but I'm careful to not blame everything on a spiritual thing or something evil or even mental health. Some people just do the wrong thing. Some people have no problem harming other people, which I think is a problem. There are some people that enjoy, which is odd, because sometimes, so individuals with psychopathic type traits, they often start with so a big red flag is harming animals, and then harming people, and then things can kind of escalate. And so now I used to kill ants or whatever, but to me that's like bugs. But there are people that will harm cats and dogs, and things will kind of escalate from there. And it's just it can be a red flag. Yes. And so we are all here for everyone's opinions. Welcome, Northwest. Welcome, everyone. All right. And then I started a question. Did the parents of the brothers know that the younger brother was disturbed? So I think it's my understanding from Kathy's video, I think he was in college, and because I thought the parents got the weapon away from him. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the parents realized that he had a weapon or something. Like something weird happened with him and the weapon, I thought. And that's just from watching Kathy's video. Yes. So I do. If bugs cross my threshold, bugs must go. I did put like a ladybug on a paper towel and released it. And it might have, I don't know if it died in the process, but I tried because my son was right there. Like I tried to like gently guide the bug back, but yeah. Yeah. He was living out at college. Yeah. Do, do, do. And even if, because I like how Kathy also mentioned in her video, and I've said it here multiple times, individuals with schizophrenia, with bipolar disorder, with any type of mental health diagnosis, most are more likely to harm themselves than to be a danger to somebody else. Now, if somebody is actively psychotic, and the person can still understand the difference between right and wrong in the midst of a psychotic episode where it's like, yes, they lost touch with reality, but they still hid from the police. They still like they understood that it was a crime and they lied about it or something. Because in our justice system, in order for somebody to be truly not guilty by reason of insanity at the time of the crime, they have to not understand that what they did was wrong. And that's a very high bar to reach. And it doesn't seem like his attorney was even trying for that. And a mental health hospital is different from a jail. So often, even a forensic mental health unit, um, often sometimes there are more privileges. They've probably tried to do medication with him because it sounds like he was not compliant with some treatment. Um, And yes, exactly. Bugs must go. All right. Oh, somebody mentioned I wrote a theory on it, the 6 levels of coherences. Cool. Um, cool, cool, cool. Thank you, Marianne, for mentioning that. All right. All right. This case is very sad. And the judge. So the judge is going to be the one that makes the decision on this one. And the judge is gonna see all the evidence, and I think there's a lot of evidence that it was him, and he's thinking the judge is going to find him not guilty. And I think there's maybe 1 or 2 more days because I think this is a shorter trial. I wonder if they'll have closing arguments tomorrow, and we'll see what the defense does if he testifies in his own case. If he does decide to get on the stand, I might do like a late evening live later this week. I don't know if I'll be able to wait until Saturday. If he goes live, if he does get on the stand tomorrow, no later than Thursday, I will do a video. So Lisa, it looks like one expert diagnosed him with schizophrenia. When I was researching his competency, it looked like he didn't have consistent paranoia or like well-formed delusions. And so that's where I wonder if some of the providers were thinking he was faking it. I don't know. It's like if he was feigning mental health, but one expert did diagnose him with untreated schizophrenia. It seems like some other experts mentioned some narcissistic traits and that he wasn't compliant with certain things. The judge ruled that he has the capacity to make rational decisions and was working with his attorneys. He might have had a few minor outbursts during but like wasn't disruptive to the proceedings. And yes, I mentioned the thing about his brother. So yeah, so he's charged with 12 other counts, including child cruelty. So it's not just the malice, capital M. It's also 12 other counts, including child cruelty. Very, very sad case. Very, very sad case. My heart goes out to that child. I hope that the child. So you can do EMDR with kids. So somebody asked me about that because I've been talking a lot about eye movement desensitization reprocessing. If people find the correct provider, if that's a good service for them. So if a child did have any memories, or if they did have vague knowledge that something bad happened to mom and dad and I was there, but they might not remember the specifics, at least for that child to know that they didn't do anything wrong, that nothing, that like it wasn't their fault. Um, uh, and as children get older, they might understand things more and more. So once this child can, if I was working with a child whose parent had went through something like this and there were public articles or public videos about the parents' like death and their murder, um I would try, because there would be age appropriate information, because around, maybe depending on the maturity and development of the child, because I might want to tell them some information so other people don't tell it to them. Um, do you feel comfortable talking about the viral video of the Black pregnant woman in Texas that was ignored by the nurse? And so it's my understanding that the nurse was fired. And Lisa, thank you for sending me the email with that request and recommendation. Um, uh, I think. And so I haven't watched it. So I didn't watch the video. I have seen other people give commentary on it. And I think we all know that it's wrong to ignore somebody that's in pain. And I believe the nurse lost her job, which you can't ignore patients. And so, yeah. And then Lisa says, I'm sure if he had a real mental health diagnosis. So remember, he's doing a competency evaluation. So you can have a mental health diagnosis and still be found competent to stand trial. So they were evaluating competency. So the first step is, does he have a mental health condition? And they might say, yeah, he might have some traits or some symptoms of this. This might be something that runs in the family. But at this current point in time, he's not so paranoid that he thinks the judge is in on the CIA operation or whatever. And so, yeah, it's a lot. All right. Yeah. Somebody said for that nurse situation, I think a formal complaint can be filed. And I don't know what the patient is going to do in that situation. But there's some videos that I don't watch just because, like, watching it brings up so much. So I was very thankful that my birthing process, that my doctor listened to me. She heard me. I've talked about it a few times on stream. There was a nurse that wasn't listening to me, and my doctor kicked the nurse out of the room. The nurse, like, wanted to do things a certain way, and it was stopping my labor. Like, she was annoying the mess out of me. Like, it was, and she didn't like, it wasn't anything that I would report or anything like that. It was just, she was not listening to me. And so my OB said, can you go check on somebody else? Don't come back for like, and she did. Like, she left. And I was thankful that I had my doctor on my side. I only have one child, and it was a miracle. So I have a condition that is really common with African American women. I have fibroids, and during pregnancy, a few of them got big, where we just had to monitor it. then my doctor automatically gave me certain medication because when a mother does go into labor with fibroids, sometimes there can be medical complications. And so my doctor was aware of that. She specialized in the health issues, the concerns that I had. And I just felt really, really supported. And so I was glad to have that. I know that's not everybody's experience. I follow some creators on social media that openly talk about having negative experiences and going through a lot. And so, yeah. Oh, see, Lisa, I didn't even look at the hospital statement. I didn't even look at that. And sometimes the hospital is trying to like it's probably their PR department that is, but like, yeah, that's. And sometimes it can become a personnel matter where there's some things that they can't say. And they have looked at specifically. And so this is researched. So what Lisa is saying is not like this is something that's researched. They have looked at it. And there can definitely be concerns with situations like this. And so, yeah. Yep. Yeah, it did seem a lot of times hospitals go into damage control, but sometimes that can make things worse. If you're following the case of the house cleaner that accidentally knocked on the wrong door, put a 1 in the chat if you have heard of that case. The house cleaner that accidentally knocked on the wrong door and the homeowner shot through the closed door, like through the closed locked door. And so once again, stand your ground laws are going to come into play with that case. Okay, so some of you all have heard about it. Little info. Okay, so let me share my screen. I think it might have been Law and Crime. I could be wrong, but I know I saw a video out there. I think it was from them. All right. So this is the homeowner, and this case is out of Indiana. And so Maria Rose Perez, a 32-year-old Guatemalan immigrant, was unalived on November 5th after she mistakenly went to the incorrect home in the Indianapolis suburb of Whitestown. And so she was trying to open the door, but she had accidentally went to the wrong door. And it's my understanding that the homeowner just like shot through, and it was her and her husband that were there. They were contracted to clean a different home, but they just accidentally went to the wrong house. Let's go ahead and play this real quick.
Charged with voluntary manslaughter after a fatal encounter in Indiana that's shaken a community. Prosecutors say Kurt Anderson shot and killed housekeeper Maria Florinda Rios Perez, a mother of 4, when she and her husband mistakenly tried to enter his home. The couple had been booked to clean another house in the same neighborhood.
This is a tragedy for everyone involved.
According to court documents, Anderson told investigators he and his wife woke up to the sound of what appeared to be some type of keys, tools, or instrument being used on the front door of the residence. He said he could hear and see that the individuals outside were still trying to get into his home, adding it was getting more and more aggressive. Anderson telling authorities he didn't announce himself or say anything before firing. Afterwards, he said he heard a man crying out and weeping.
La ventana.
Perez's husband, Mauricio, saying he was looking through the window of the house when he heard a shot, then held his wife covered in blood, now asking for justice, saying Mari was a good wife and mother and a hard worker. The case, a test of Indiana's self-defense laws. Anderson's lawyer calling Perez's death a terrible tragedy, but writing that his actions were fully justified and are within the bounds of an Indiana doctrine that allows someone to use deadly force if they believe it's necessary to prevent an unlawful entry into his home. Prosecutors disagreeing while saying they support the right to self-defense.
The person did not have a reasonable belief that that type of force was necessary.
And an attorney for Perez's family says they're happy to see the charges filed, calling her death tragic and preventable. Court documents show the couple never made it inside the house, and investigators say there was also no handprints or sign of forced entry. As for the defendant, he is now being held in jail without bail.
All right. And to me, that is where, so right now, if somebody was jiggling at our door, we would be like, stop. We would call the police. Like we would, because I think this family was confused. They accidentally went to the wrong house. One time, was it here? On our street, a lot of the houses look a little bit alike. And sometimes somebody can accidentally go to the wrong house. My mom recently, so my front yard was overgrown, and and she was coming to help me trim the hedges and everything. And so my mom, she almost like drove by, like she was like, the house looked, the house was, the front of the house would look so bad. My mom didn't even recognize the front of our house. And what if she had accidentally went up and like knocked on some other door, or I think this did happen early in the morning. I think it might have been like 6 a.m. or something. I think it was early in the morning. But to me, and then that's where the law is going to say what a reasonable person would do. And to me, what is reasonable is that you say, stop, what's going on? And it's super, super sad. Super duper sad. Because often to me, sometimes somebody trying to enter your home, sometimes what it is okay, if they break a window and they're in your house, or if they, cross the threshold, it seems like this was a mistake. It just seems like it was a mistake. Yes. All right. Somebody said, what if it was like kids or something? And that's actually happened in Edon. There was a case where a kid snuck out of his house, and I think he went drinking with his friends or something. And then he accidentally snuck back into the wrong house and was shot. But like he did get into the house, but it was the wrong house. It wasn't his house. And he was shot and killed. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Because you also add to the fact that this was, so I don't know if the family, how much English they spoke. And there are people that are afraid of people that aren't like them. And sometimes people have assumptions about people. I've never been to Indiana, so I don't know how things are. I've never been to Indiana. I know in the state of Virginia, so I went to school at Virginia Tech, and it's in Blacksburg, and not a ton of Black people in Blacksburg. And I was with I was on a research team, and me and this other girl who just so happened to be white, we ended up getting stuck in the snow. And we ended up getting stuck in the snow in somebody's very, very long private driveway. She decides to drive all the way up to this person's house. And I am so afraid, because I'm concerned that me just being on these people's property, that somebody could see me as a threat. And the family ends up actually like towing us outside. Towing us back up, because they had a very steep driveway. It was one of these, there was a whole bunch of snow. She had a little sports car, and I was in fear I was so afraid. And I'm laughing, not because it's funny, like that was literally how I got through that moment. The family was the sweetest family. They were super sweet. We did end up going inside their house because I think the girl tried to call AAA or something, and we waited at their house for a very long time. The family offered us a tour of their house. I did not take the tour. I sat and I sat at their, it was like as soon as you came in the house, there was this like kitchen nook or something. I sat there. I did not use the bathroom. I did not do anything because I just wanted to get back to my dorm room. I wanted to get back to campus. And I was safe. I was fine, but she did not understand my perspective. And thankfully, everything was fine. Most of the students in Blacksburg go to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is a very big college town. Things are normally fine. It was a very, very odd situation. The homeowner didn't say anything at all. And so he did not know whether they spoke English or not. Thank you for pointing that part out. All right. Rich Auntie said, I would have been nervous too. Exactly. Because I wish, so imagine, so the driveway was probably like a quarter of a mile. Like it was a long private driveway. We were on their property and it's like a hill because Blacksburg is, they're like, it's a valley, but there are some like hills. So for some reason, their driveway, it was so long, it was so steep. And we were stuck. And her idea was to like get further stuck. And I was just like, I never rode with her ever again. I don't remember her name. I don't remember anything else about that situation. She was like there was nothing like, but we did not end up going to the research project because we were supposed to go somewhere else. We did not make it to that place. Once we got out, I'm pretty sure we went back to campus and that was that. But that's a very, very sad, very, very tragic case. My heart breaks for that family. I am glad that he was arrested because this happened November 5th and he was just arrested. So on November 17th, so yesterday, Kurt Anderson was just arrested and charged with voluntary manslaughter. So that's what he has been charged with. We will see. And so once again, it's going to be a test of those stand your ground laws. If you watch the Netflix documentary, Good Neighbor, Perfect Neighbor, I think it's Perfect Neighbor. I covered that case, the Susan Lawrence case. I covered that here. And then I also talked with Paul about the docuseries. I did not show any footage from the docuseries or anything. It's very, very triggering. Like you have to be in a good place. I don't know. Like if you want to skip it, please skip it. Yeah. And that's where, so I think, and so that classmate, she just didn't know. So that's where she had no understanding of what it was like for me to be, because in her mind, she's going to be fine. Like she's going to be fine. I don't think, and so she didn't see me as a threat. Like she didn't like, so I don't think it ever entered her mind. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. So you said, totally get it. It was great to get over the fear, but as you said, the family was fine. Exactly. So the family was fine. It was a fine day, but also like, so I didn't want to look around the house and then something's missing. And then, because also I didn't know that girl, so I didn't know her. So I sat at their table. And the dad, so the husband towed her car out. We got in the car and left, but that's how I handled that situation. Somebody mentioned a guy just shot a DoorDash guy that was driving away. People are acting as if everyone's a threat. So that's where, like, I hope we get back to being kind to one another and just like saying hi to your neighbor, you know. I think we have more things alike than because as I sat and talked with that family was so sweet. I think they had both graduated, or one or both of them had graduated from Virginia Tech. We chatted with them, you know. It was fine, but it can be tough. And so I think people have to be aware that bias exists, and then people have to be aware of their bias. They just have to. And so thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all on Saturday, as long as Matthew doesn't take the stand. If Matthew takes the stand, I will be on a lot sooner. Okay. So I will keep an eye on those cases. I will see you all on Saturday. I hope you all have a good one. Bye.